the July 9th meeting of the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission to order. If you could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling.
Here.
Commissioner Brand.
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Mr. Adams.
Here.
Mr. Wiggerly.
Here.
Ms. Green.
Here. Okay. This time I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the June 11th meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Okay. Next on the agenda is the EDA 2026 Economic Development Services Contract. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning. Am I on here?
You are.
All right. Okay, so this agenda item refers to the Economic Development Services Agreement between the Delaware County Commissioners and the Economic Development Alliance. The contract was approved at the County Commissioners' June 15th meeting, but I'm here today because there is a request that the contract be paid by TIF, which is how it's been paid this past year. Prior to the commissioners, though, I did provide about a 30-minute presentation covering how the funds were spent, how we'll use the funds the remainder of the year, our accomplishments and work over each of the categories in the agreement. I gave you the handout that I provided to the commissioners that day, just some highlights of our work. I do want to note that the contract does not represent any kind of an increase. In fact, this is the same level of funding the Alliance saw all the way back to 2011. And this funding makes up about 24% of our budget. We're cognizant that these are taxpayer dollars. We take that responsibility seriously. We seek in every effort we can to bring in dollars outside of local government. So we see tremendous support from local foundations, local companies, some individuals, utility partners. And so I'm here today to request that support.
Do you mind giving just a couple highlights of
Sure.
what's been done? I don't expect the full presentation
You don't
that you
want
gave
that.
to the commissioners. I didn't say I didn't want it, but if you could just give some highlights, I'd be
Sure.
appreciated.
Okay. For the public's knowledge, if you do want to see the full report, obviously it's on the county's YouTube page on the commissioners meeting, but I think I'll focus mostly on business attraction, recruitment, and business retention and expansion. That's probably the most valuable information to this body. So currently we have 12 business attraction projects in our pipeline. Those are projects that have maybe visited the community. We've had virtual meetings. There's a genuine interest. They're looking at specific sites and buildings here. These are not just projects where we've responded to an RFP. These are actually projects in motion. In 2025, we submitted 24 proposals to the Indiana Economic Development Corporation for projects. And so far this year, and this is last month's stats, these numbers have actually gone up. We've submitted 14 proposals to the IEDC. This is not the totality of our work. We've responded to dozens of other leads that come directly to us from brokers and site location consultants, utility partners, rail partners, and other professionals. We had 8 site visits with companies considering Delaware County. Actually, we had 2 last month, and so we're up to 10. These are companies that have come here. They're looking at a specific property. They are evaluating and doing their due diligence. Sometimes they bring their engineering teams, their company leadership, C-suite people to really evaluate the community. So we've done 10 of those. Some project announcements. Sort Pro. This is a CanPack supplier that's located in Yorktown. You're very familiar with Nordtech aluminum trailers. We helped them extensively throughout their process of trying to request support from the Redevelopment Commission. We continue to follow up with them. Gina just paid them a visit yesterday to check in and see how they're doing. So they've announced their $2.3 million investment, and they intend to create 33 jobs. Monday at the Muncie City Council meeting, Caheen went public with their expansion project, which is about $13 million. And they're going to invest in new business personal property and actually expand their building as well. So moving on to business retention and expansion, we have 8 existing business projects in our pipeline, local companies that are looking at expansion opportunities, and we're helping them. Sometimes it's utility coordination, sometimes it's trying to get incentives from the state. There's just a variety of ways that we help to usher these projects along. Last year, we did 65 BRE visits. That's business retention expansion. Those are check-in calls. It's intentional relationship building. It's not a cold call. It's a meeting where we sit down and really try to assess what the needs and opportunities are of those companies. And in 2026 so far, again, last month's stats, we had done 33 with 22 pending meeting requests. Sometimes it's tough to get in the door, frankly. These people are really busy. But for this year, we have a goal of 100 BRE visits, which is turning out to be quite ambitious, but we're working toward that end. We've done a lot of site planning, site certification. We did 2 of those, went through 2 formal site certification processes this year. And I think with that, I'll just stop. And if there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer or dive into any other categories.
Just for clarification, this is managed by the commissioners. It's just funded by this body.
Yes, it's a contract with the commissioners.
Accountability metrics, the performance is all at the purview of the commissioners who have approved this. They're just asking for our funding.
Yeah, and I'll just mention that, so we give an annual report to the commissioners, which is what last month was. And then we added an additional reporting requirement in the agreement to make sure that we're communicating on a more frequent basis. So every month they're getting a report of all of the projects we have in play, all of the projects that I mentioned. They have greater detail on those. And then they also get detail into some of the other initiatives that we're working on too. So of course we meet with them fairly regularly about projects. I think they have some insight into what we're doing.
This also gets us on an annual cycle.
It does. It gets us on an annual cycle. We did not seek to extend the contract beyond the current makeup of the Board of Commissioners or this body. So gets us on a calendar year, gets us in sync with the contract for redevelopment, and does not extend beyond this year.
So the existing contract, we've been paying out of 4 TIFs, the Magna 4401 to be specific, because there are 2 Magna TIFs, the Morrison, Midwest Metal, and Progress Rail. Morrison, while it seems to have a decent cash balance, is being tasked with things that we weren't previously aware of, such as the Yorktown economic development payment for the Oliver, which we're going to consider today. I think there's a $600,000 request. So for the rest of this current contract, I do think the Morrison could handle it, but we may have to reconsider if there's a go forward in 2027. So those 4 TIFs can afford it the rest of this year.
And this is structured the same as it was last year, correct, Tracy? It'll be invoiced monthly.
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Carrie, were you the second on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Mr. Kiesling.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly.
Yes.
Ms. Green. Yes.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, Yorktown Community Schools request, Ryan Kelly and Dr. Henshaw. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for allowing us to speak today and present to you. I'm Ryan Kelly. I grew up in Muncie, Delaware County, currently preside in Yorktown, and the president of the school board. We have Dr. Henshaw, the superintendent as well. So just kind of want to go through our request and kind of where we've been. But before you today, we have a request for an annual amount to Yorktown schools. And we don't take this lightly. We've looked through this the last several years. Obviously, some of the tax cuts are going to be a constraint on the school system. We've worked with policy analytics to do projections. I think we have one of the best financial minds in the state superintendent area as well. Like, we've looked at all angles. We've worked through our strategic plan. Obviously, we've done a lot of things at Yorktown, and those weren't, just one-offs. They were by design over a period of time. The challenge is the school systems are in competition today. And part of that is I think we're aligned with you guys. We want our students to live and move to Delaware County. That's the end result goal to our school district. Currently, we do accept transfer students, but our end result goal is we've got to work together in order to, expand economic development. So I think the TIFs we're supportive of, always have been, but part of that, it does take things away from the school system. So we're trying to just merge all these financial constraints together and better the schools overall. We've done a lot of projects over the last 5-7 years, really since Dr. Henshaw's been here. Some of those are more forward-facing, the football field, athletic facilities, but really we did this the right way in our opinion. We really focused on transportation, the school systems itself. We expanded PVE, redeveloped the middle school, the transportation system. And so part of that is to attract more students to this area. I think we're one of the premier schools in the district, and we want to continue that. We can't be stagnant on what we're doing. And so the request to you guys is an annual amount over time that we can help align your guys' goals, which is economic development, redevelopment, but also ours, which is help attract students. And so our priorities for these funds would be criteria versus project specific to figure out what fits within those criteria and what the school's strategic plan is. So our goal would be safety, accessibility, and energy efficiencies would be what these funds could be used for. And I'm happy, I don't know if Dr. Henshaw, you want to add, he's more the numbers guy on historical items we've done. Our goal is, I know that there's probably 50 school districts that are probably going to attempt a referendum this year. That is not our goal. Our goal is not to continue to raise taxes on our tenant base. And so we're trying to look at these other tools that are systematic in our toolbox. So we hope that you guys will be supportive of our request and happy to answer any technical questions or any other feedback you may need.
Any questions?
Mr. Kelly, I think for clarification, every school request we've seen so far has been project specific. Selma was a accessible playground. Cowan was some safety measures and some other infrastructure. Yours is proposing more of a, call it 10-year allocation to be used at the school's discretion. Is that
Correct, yes. And the intent is we can use some of our other funds. What I don't want to do is, if something is 10th on the list for the school system, and I think that the board shares as a school board, that we just don't prioritize something that may be on the top of your guys' list and it doesn't fit within ours. So I think we're trying to take parameters and apply it to our strategic plan to really get the best project. And we might have to put money towards that, but I think that also gives us ability to maybe finance that over time as well. So we have a bigger project that's front loaded. We can kind of cobble that together with our funds. And so I think it gives us a little more strategy behind using those funds versus a one-off project.
So you're looking for a 10-year commitment, and did I just understand what you said, that you may use this to potentially underwrite a bond or?
Potentially. Like I said, we could just do a one project every year for 10 years, but I think it's the flexibility that we like through that. So whether that's not necessarily a bond, but maybe it's just a direct loan, a bond payment. Dr. Henshaw would know more about the bond structure, but I think that would be a possibility. I think we've talked to Ice Miller about that concept. I think other school districts have done something similar to that with that financial commitment from a TIF.
So it's not necessarily specifically to take to a creditor and say, hey, look, we have this revenue commitment.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
And if that's a constraint, we don't have to do that, but I think we like that flexibility to be able, if it's a bigger project over time, maybe that's a part of the puzzle.
Personally, I appreciate that you are seeking the flexibility, but when we see requests, regardless whether they're from schools or other entities, I prefer that they be project specific so we can have some parameters, especially with this being so far into the future. And you mentioned budgets. TIFs are questionable in the future, and straddling a future board, we are all appointed on a yearly basis. Straddling a future board with something that goes 10 years into the future and is not in any way specific is concerning to me.
And what we could do too, if you guys are open to that, is still having not necessarily parameters, but also an approval of specific projects as we have those. Because we want you guys to be, obviously credited with some of that support, but also have a voice in that. So we can always come back and say, this is the project we're doing with that money. It's a secondary approval process if that's warranted. So or if there's other, like I said, we started with safety, sustainability, and those, and I guess accessibility. If there's other parameters that are important to you guys, we could add that to the mix too. I think those were more of our guardrails than anything else. So
I understand the situation the school districts are in. However, I feel like if we approve this, we're going to have all the school corporations, all the schools in here requesting money. I mean, I think that's what's going to happen if we approve this. And I don't know that, $1 million over 10 years or $100,000 a year for 10 years. I don't know that will happen. I don't know that the finances would allow that after, I think we're okay for 2 or 3 years.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen after that, is my point.
One thing that I think the entire state's being faced with right now is the potential repeal and replace of property taxes. And one thing I've been talking to our state legislators about is how do we protect debt service that's obligated against TIF districts? And it looks like the legal advice coming down right now is that they would only protect something that was a debt that was obligated per a bond. So if we're making commitments, to a school like this, I don't think that would be protected, that debt service. So
I agree.
To Commissioner Henry's point, if something happens with property taxes repeal and replace, there may not be we may not be able to fulfill a commitment in year, I'll make it up 3, 4, 5 and on. So that's, I'm not one to manage out of fear, but I am fiscally conservative and I want to make sure that we have enough money to cover our obligations.
I agree everything that was just said, and we have been supportive of schools. I think the other challenge is the interlocal agreement we have with the town that is significant dollars in Yorktown right now that hinders our capacity.
yeah, and to add to that, I know that we've done our due diligence. We weren't ignorant to the fact that Yorktown has their own redevelopment commission, so we did start there. Obviously, it's in its infancy. There's not a lot of funds there. So I think some of these TIFs, with Delaware County have been in existence for a while. So we did vet that option as well and started there. It's just not an option today, just because there's not much capacity because of the age of those TIFs. So but again, our goal is to continue to support TIFs, redevelopment, economic development, but we do think the schools are part of that, especially in Delaware County, specifically to Yorktown. I feel like it's an attractant to Delaware County as a whole. So again, to us, it's more of a partnership. We hope you guys would support that, but I understand completely. Other schools are going to see that, but I think historically we've seen that too. Other schools have been supported that maybe are going in the wrong direction. So I think to us, it's a partnership, but how do we keep Yorktown and attract it to Delaware County? So
Does the Yorktown School Board have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan? Do you have any projects currently identified that you think this funding could possibly go towards? Do you have priority projects, second-tier projects, anything?
we are in the middle of a strategic plan that is a 5-year plan currently. It should be finalized in the next 2 months. I don't know that specific projects. I know that Jonathan Lamb is here not for this reason, but he's on the foundation as well. And so we've looked at other projects. So we're starting the softball. Our girls program has never had their own softball field. It's currently presides at JA that Yorktown actually owns. So we're building that. That started this week. I think next on the, list, if you will, we will also have 3 seats opening on Yorktown School Board coming November. I think there's maybe 7 or 8 candidates for that. The auditorium is on the list of having a need. We're in the middle of a roofing project from an infrastructure standpoint. After that, I don't know, we have essentially a PCNA that shows us failing infrastructure items over time, so it could be used potentially towards that. But there's no major projects outside the ones I mentioned, unless you can think of any of the ones on the list that were prioritized. So we do have a plan. It will be finalized in the next 2 months, but it's not specific to these are the projects we have to do. It's more of a framework of what we want to see done. But part of that has to do with who's on the board at that point in time.
I would say, as a school board member myself, representing school boards, I completely understand where these gentlemen are coming from and their struggles. I also know from the few years that I've sat here that what we have done to help schools has really been project based. My fear would be going to something like this on a 10-year plan. Number one, I'm not a fan to strap future boards into the future of something. We've already had an issue coming up today on some money that we're strapped with having to pay that really makes a hindrance on the board. And so what my feeling would be, and again, I think the predictability of other schools seeing this and wanting to come and be part of that, nothing against them. I truly feel like that they've put something together and it makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, I feel like that if there's something project based that they can bring to the table, and I would prefer any other school if they're going to bring something, it be project based, so that the commission knows where the money's going and what it's going for, and get a straight up vote, up or down on that particular project. And I would encourage maybe you all to do that same type of thing. But my personal thing on this is 10 years is a long time. I don't see how the commission could really set themselves up for that. But again, I think you all could bring any kind of a project that you feel like you might have a need for, to bring that to the commission. And I think that they're always open to try to help where they can.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and we were trying to be cognizant of your guys' planning too. We didn't want to say, hey, we want a big check today.
Yep.
And trying to plan accordingly with our goals. So that was the intent of the proposal.
Sure.
If there's another way to kind of carve that out over a 2 or 3 year period, a 1 year period, I think flexibility and strategy was our goal. So if there's a revision we could do from that standpoint, I think that'd be helpful. Because again, I don't know that we want to do a project that's 10th on our strategic plan list or group, but it's number 1 on yours. How do we collaborate without just throwing darts at the wall? So that was our goal. I don't know if it came across that way, but happy to kind of revise things if there's a way to kind of have a hybrid standpoint. Maybe it's a shorter period that we can kind of strategize together. We're open to that idea as well.
I think the general message I'm hearing, Mr. Kelly, is a project-specific request, maybe safety-related, something direct benefit to the students on the education side. I also think it's important for everybody to recall that there is a law that obligates or restricts this body from obligating more than 15% of a specific TIF district fund to education on a regular frequency. So we are limited also on what we can allocate for certain categories such as education, and that limits 15%.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. So we'll appreciate you guys' time and feedback, because I think this is kind of step 1 to get feedback, and then we'll kind of reorganize with the board and work on what project fits your guys. So what other things are maybe important to you guys outside of those 3 categories that we presented? Are there other things that are on the top of your list as far as project? Because we do have a list of projects. We can't fund them all. So there's ones that, move up the list slightly because it has more of your guys' support. We can look at it from that angle too.
Yeah, I think what I just said would be something I would support, would be something safety, security, a compliance request. If you have some sort of a compliance gap that you have to close, those types of things would be something that I would be in favor of. I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but that's my support.
All right.
I would have to agree with Commissioner Brand. I would prefer to see something that's going to benefit all of the students. I definitely understand the athletic needs that Yorktown Community School has faced, but to be real, that impacts a small portion of the students that go to that school system. So I would prefer to see something safety related, infrastructure related, that's going to impact all of the students, and to your point earlier, also hopefully attract more.
Yeah, we look at the safety plan. We actually have the Yorktown Police Department that does a security audit. We've added security entrances to pretty much every building. We've expanded the SRO. I think we've got 3 or 4 SROs in each, 5 SROs. I think there was maybe 2 when I started. So we've taken that seriously, but you know, we can never stop looking at that either. So
How, if I can ask, how's the traffic situation? Because I think everyone's heard complaints before and after school about traffic problems around that area. Is there anything we could do? I mean, you have a big park across the street. Is there any way? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because those are complaints we get.
well, I used to live across the street from PVE, so it was one of my complaints that I probably bugged Dr. Henshaw about for 4 years. But I would say it's drastically better
Okay.
than it has been. We've made some tweaks on that end. We're also going to change the times up between the buses. There's going to be a change of 20 or 30 minutes. So I think that's been relieved. We've added traffic at 2 or 3 different stops. So I would say it's drastically, the first 2 weeks of the school system, it's a little harder because everybody brings their kids to
Yeah,
school.
absolutely. Yeah.
But I think overall we've heard really good feedback from really everyone in the last year.
And that's great. I remember hearing about, let's put a roundabout. I think it was a roundabout in at one time. There's been some other things kicked around, but that would be something, honestly, I would be interested in because we're not getting complaints just from people taking their kids to school. We're getting complaints from citizens that are trying to navigate that area before and after school. So it'd be something.
Yeah, we've had a police traffic director at that 3-way stop for the better part of a year or 2. I think that's made a drastic difference. I don't know if we've opined on the traffic circle or not. I think in the last year it's gotten drastically better from the school board standpoint. So
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Well, that's great. Like I said, we'll take this feedback back to the board and maybe come back to you guys with a more project specific if that works. Is there a dollar threshold that's a maximum that you have legal parameters from? Okay.
Other than that 15% limit on a specific district, a TIF allocation area.
Okay.
It would just depend on where we drew from.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you guys for your feedback and time.
Thank you.
Do we need to make an official motion to deny this request as presented?
I would.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Kiesling.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly.
Yes.
Ms. Green. Yes. Next on the agenda is the Innovation Connector request number 2. Good morning, Ted.
Good morning. So members of the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission, thank you for the opportunity to speak once again to you. I also want to thank members of the Innovation Connector team, board members, clients, and supporters who have shown up in mass here today to support the work of the Innovation Connector. The Innovation Connector exists to create jobs and strengthen Delaware County's economy by helping entrepreneurs start, grow, and expand successful businesses. The Innovation Connector is not an office rental business. We are in the business of creating successful businesses. An office space is simply one tool we use to fulfill the mission of creating jobs in our community and growing these businesses. That mission has been unchanged for over 2 decades, even as the methods of business incubation have evolved. As your June meeting that I attended, you approved $25,000 of the Innovation Connector's $75,000 funding request and asked us to provide financial documents and asked us to consider raising or adjusting our lease rates to our resident clients. After meeting those requirements, you made a commitment to provide an additional $25,000 in funding. I appreciate the comments and the questions that you've made, and we took them very seriously. And we've done a comprehensive review of our finances, lease structure, resident portfolio, and local commercial office market rates and such. The requested financial statements were provided to Board Chair Green and also to Gina on June 22nd, along with information describing our current lease rates and situations. Now, just to help us understand a little bit about where you are coming from on some of the questions, and especially about the question about long-term clients. Mr. Kiesling, you expressed concern and dissatisfaction with the length of client stays. Could you explain how you know this or what you know about that and the impact that they have on the Innovation Connector and why? I'm just trying to understand.
So, I mean, I've been in that building multiple times since 2008. And some of the same names of businesses are there, have been there that whole time. And so for me, when a business is the innovation connector, an incubator for over 10 years, questioning if it's launching or if there's codependency.
Okay. So I can address some of those, and that is we do have long-term clients, and it's not a bad thing, especially in the changing environment of incubation. We have undergone changes just like national organizations have and such. Incubators have gone from a place-based organization to more of a hub and an ecosystem developer. And in the past, when we brought in startup businesses, which we still do, startup businesses were requiring office space, telephones, copiers, all of those things that didn't come in normal offices, and they needed to help get started with their business. Since that time and over the years, we have seen that those things are not the priority for those clients anymore. With the changes of remote work and not needing necessarily everybody needing an office space, we become basically an ecosystem developer in our community. And because of that, instead of just working with the clients within the Innovation Connector, we now work with, we've in the last 5 years, over 1,000 entrepreneurs and business owners in our community. And so our impact, because of the hub-based, ecosystem-based organization, we're serving so many more clients now and making a big difference. And so having a long-term client, yes, we do have some. I'm thinking of one right now that's been there quite some time, and they've made 4 business pivots in the last 8 years. And now they are becoming a national leader in their type of work, and we have helped them through that progress and process. So business is ever changing and their business needs are changing. It is also interesting to understand that our impact has been drastically improved, but we've always remained completely in tune with our purpose. Our 2003 Articles of Incorporation state that the Innovation Connector exists to promote, support, encourage, and assist in development of businesses and employment opportunities in Delaware County. Okay, we're still doing that. The mission has changed, but the method has not. And so even though we have a few long-term clients, we don't see that necessarily as a bad thing. And we monitor these clients. And we do measure progress, and we measure where they're going with that. Today, the Innovation Connector serves entrepreneurs and existing businesses across virtually every sector of our economy. And so with all of this said is, we are about helping the entrepreneurs and businesses in our community that are not necessarily being helped. We help the most vulnerable startups and also the most vulnerable existing businesses. If supporting entrepreneurs were easy and quick, we would be called microwaves instead of incubators. And that's true. It takes time. It takes time to incubate. We are no longer simply a building that rents offices. We are Delaware County's entrepreneurial support hub. And I think that's worth saying. We have stood out as Delaware County's entrepreneurial support hub, connecting entrepreneurs with people, capital, education, and resources they need to succeed. That work is strengthened through our partnerships, which if you check our website or you check what we're doing, partnerships are everything to us. And we've done great with that with different other businesses, foundations, educational institutions, nonprofits, state and federal agencies, and economic development organizations. These collaborations give us greater impact. The other thing that was mentioned during the meeting was reviewing our lease rates. And first of all, I just want you to know that our team continually evaluates revenue streams. And don't think for a minute we haven't thought of, like, every month, every time we go through this, that we do need to review our rents and our leases. We really do. And so this is a continually review thing that we do. And with that in mind, again, I have questions like, what do you know, if you look at the Innovation Connector, even though I know raising rents would just, you say, hey, there's more money and you don't have to ask for some, but have anybody considered the impact it has on our clients? And, you know, what even our rent structures like? Can you help me with understanding where that came from and those questions came from maybe?
What is your current lease rate structure? Like, do you have it by square foot?
We actually have it by just size of offices. So we have small, medium, large to make it easy. And so they're rounded up. Our lease rates right now are right at $34.35 a square foot, which is about 3 times the average of Delaware of Muncie office rates. So we're about 3 times market rate right now. And the reason we do that is because, first of all, we're in high demand. So we can charge that. The second thing is it's the services that we offer. We offer more than just office space, and we say that all the time. We're just more than office space. And so one of the things that I've reviewed is that even if we had a 8% increase, it would increase our total revenue by less than $13,000. It's $12,700 in a year. And the problem is that if we lose one client just because of that, it negates everything that we gain from that. And so being sensitive to some of these clients who are startups, raising the rates higher than three times market rate could be difficult. I'm not saying it's out of the question. And the other thing is our rates are locked in because of leases. Legalities keep us from raising anything until the end of this year. So we can't do anything immediately with that. We had done some comparative studies, and Susan Volbrick, a local realtor, has been so gracious to look at what we've done, and she understands our market rates were higher than market rate. The other thing is what we do compared to other offices in the community is not it's apples and oranges. It's hard to compare both of them just because of the services that we provide. I mean, we're over $34 a square foot, and that's a significant amount. And again, like I told you last month, when we look at that, this is one of the reasons why we're trying to expand our facility, to bring in more clients. And studies have shown nationally that will help reduce, or actually will help pay for both buildings as we get additional clients in there.
I'm gonna stop you for a minute here. I've dealt with Mr. Baker and Innovation Connector for quite some time, sitting up here. I've had numerous businesses come to me and ask, you know, how can the county help? And I always say, go see Mr. Baker over at the Innovation Connector. And he always helps these businesses, these small businesses, especially in the small towns. Because you have people in these small towns, they don't know how to get started. And I always send them to Mr. Baker, and he always sets it down, and they go through a business plan, and he walks them through everything. And he does an amazing job. And what are you asking for today?
Well, we've been given the 25,000 with another 25,000.
So you're asking for 25,000.
Well, and that was on top of the first 25.
Right.
But really, our original goal was to get 75,000, and I still stand behind that if we could get a full 75,000.
So my point is, we have this setting in Delaware County, and yeah, there may be some businesses that have been over there for a while, but why would you not keep a business over there and keep you anchored, right? Why would you not do that? Every year we go to Washington, D.C., and we sit across from these people that know nothing about the United States of America. And he is one of the topics of conversation that we talk about as the Innovation Connector, not specifically Ted Baker, but the Innovation Connector. And they love that over there. It's a place for them to go immediately because some of them want to get over here immediately. And I don't know how many we put in there, but it's been a bunch. Because that's a place we can take him, and he welcomes them. This is part of economic development. And I know we spend a lot of money on economic development, but this is part of it, and he does a great job at doing what he does over there. And I think it's important that we try to help him do what he's doing. So I would be in favor of giving you $50,000.
An additional or just the total?
An additional 50,000. We're giving you 25. You asked for 75. I would be in favor of giving you 50 to make the 75.
Looking at these financials, yes.
Mike.
Sorry. All right. Line 4,500 on the budget shows income DRC. Is that us from last year at 50,000?
Mhm.
Okay. So total revenue was 1.1 million. Total expenses was 923. I add $80,000 for capital expenses. No argument there. So we're roughly at $1 million and change. So we're at 1.1 less 1, or 1.16, sorry, less 1. So there was a $160,000 surplus last year with our $50,000.
Sure. And that's not a bad thing because we have sustainability that we have to cover. And also that gives us startup for the first of the year. I mean, our funds don't just pop up at the beginning of the year. We are applying for grants and things throughout the beginning. So actually, when we start the beginning of a year, a lot of times we don't know where all of the income and revenue is going to come from. And again, like I pointed out on the financials, a lot of that revenue will be indicated below as the expenses. They're restricted or partially restricted. And so like the money we get from a lot of the foundations, they are project-based, just like you were talking about with Yorktown. They're project-based. And so we're restricted on those. We don't get to pay our staff from those funds. Those funds are used for specific projects. And so the margins are very thin, but I think what I look at is it is good for us to be financially healthy. And this just will continue and help us get through this year. But thank you for the question.
Question on the financials. Appreciate you supplying them. Do you guys have a loan? You have interest expense on here of
Yeah,
$43,451.48.
we still owe some on our building. Yes, yeah, we do. At
Gotcha.
First Merchants Bank, and it's,
Is that the same expense that causes you the depreciation?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have total wages of $400,187.50. How many employees is that?
we have 4 full-time, several part-time employees there with that too. So it just depends. We have programs that we run that have part-time employees and then full-time.
I would make a motion we approve the request of $50,000 and we'll just take it out of multiple TIFs would be my recommendation.
Can we specify those shifts, please?
So my recommendation would be Fountain Square, PRL, and we've already expended everything for Daleville, correct?
Yes.
That we have available to us, including the 20% holdover. So Daleville's probably not available. And then Magna Industrial TIF, which is 4405.
So is the motion then a total of 75 or a total of 50?
He asked for 25, right? And you got it.
We were awarded 25,000 last month.
Yeah, he requested 75. We awarded 25 of that 75.
So 50 to get him to the 75 is my point.
I'll second the motion.
Any other discussion?
I do have one question. So you're going to, a couple items down, have the resolution for the first 25. There are different TIFs that first 25 is coming out of, which is fine. I just want to make sure you want to do these TIFs, or do you want to mimic the ones for the first 25?
I think we need 2 different resolutions.
Well, I'm going to have 2 different resolutions.
Right.
I just want to make sure you don't want to mimic the TIFs that we did in the first one.
No.
Okay.
No. Roll call, please.
Mr. Peasley?
No.
Commissioner Brand?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Mr. Wiggins?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I just want to also make one more comment. We are so blessed in this community to have the resources to help clients and such. And the clients and resident clients and the people we help in the Innovation Connector, these are such meaningful businesses. And so we count it an honor to serve you in this capacity, to work with them and to lift up these businesses because they are the heartbeat of Delaware County. Thank you for
I'm glad you're here and I appreciate all
you.
you've done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Liberty Perry School Corporation Playground update.
Good morning, Heath Dudley, Director of Operations, Liberty Parish Schools, Mrs. Amy Everhart, Director of Special Education at Liberty Parish Schools. We're just here to simply give you an update. You granted us in December assistance with our accessible playground. So just wanted to, she's giving you a packet, kind of has some of the highlights. I won't read through all of that. But in addition to your funding, we were able to secure 5 additional grants locally. We were able to kick off that patronicity campaign online where the Indiana Housing and Community Development Commission provided the matching assistance for anything that we could provide on that online site. So there were a couple of wrinkles with that we weren't quite aware of when we first told you guys about that program. There was only a certain dollar amount. You couldn't, you had to kind of target a goal. So we had to set that goal a little bit lower, just based off of knowing we strategically went out and acquired all those grants before we set up the campaign. So we kind of knew exactly how much we had in hand. Then you had to kind of spitball how much you could actually raise online from just general donors. So as you can see, we had a strong commitment between the grants and from just individuals. Had over 12 donors that gave over $1,000 or more. Ground broke on June 9th. Actually, everything at this point is complete. So we provided some pictures. I wish I could have gotten some more update ones. They poured the pour-in-place surface over the weekend. So it looks phenomenal. The only piece that we're waiting on now at this point is the fencing that goes around the area, and then that project will actually be complete. So spoke with him this morning, and the project should be done by middle to end of next week. And so also in this packet, wanted to make sure that you guys saw at the very back, we would love for any of you that are available to come out to the ribbon cutting ceremony that we're going to have. But other than that, it actually went very smooth. We appreciate all of your guys' support. It was a big chunk, obviously, of the project. And so just wanted to give you a general update. You have any questions for us? Very much appreciate what you guys did for us. And I think being able to go to some of the other local community grantors and tell them that we had already, gotten some support from you guys definitely helped the fact that they wanted to be involved with us as well. So I think it's a great thing. I was at Yorktown for many years, so the traffic thing kind of made me have some flashbacks there for a second. I was the principal at one of those middle schools that fielded all those questions all the time. But for me, I know that the west side and the east side is those are areas that we want to develop, and it helps all of Delaware County if we can kind of get the perimeter with some nice projects and nice things that will attract families to school districts and different areas of the community, and it will only help Muncie and Delaware County as a whole. So any questions for Mrs. Everhart or myself?
Can you remind us what the original match was that Liberty Perry put forward before you came and asked?
We put in 100,000 of our own. You gave us 60. The overall project ended up, it's going to be a little over 200,000 when it's all said and done. So we did a very nice job. Yep.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank you. No, thank you.
Sorry I brought up the traffic thing at Yorktown.
No, I mean, Dr. Henshaw probably heard me chuckling when that comment came up. I was like, oh, goodness. So
Thank you. Nice job.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Number 8 on the agenda is the target industry study update.
Somebody's missing a phone. Good morning again. Tracy Lutton, Economic Development Alliance of Muncie, Delaware County. I'm here to provide an update on the target industry study, which actually ended up growing in scope from not just a cluster analysis target industry study, but also a strategic plan. So first, I want to thank the Redevelopment Commission for the $25,000 of support that you provided to this project. Thank you for recognizing the need for an objective, data-driven approach to kind of guide our efforts, provide a roadmap for economic development in the coming years. I want to give a special thanks to 2 of the commission members who served on the committee, from the selection of the firm who helped us with the study all the way to the final plan, Rob Keesley and Commissioner Stephen Brand. Thank you so much for the work you put into that. I provided an executive summary to you. It is just a small representation of the total 96-page plan. I thought that might be a bit much for this morning, but I'm happy to email that out to all of you. I know that some of you will probably want to take a deep dive into that. So I'm just going to give a very high-level overview of what the report found. It recognized, I think it's important to point out, it recognized a lot of meaningful progress that we have made as a community, but it also identifies some areas that we have some considerable work to do if we're going to grow investment, talent, jobs here. And so no surprise to you, I'm sure, that some of our greatest assets are strong advanced manufacturing base, nationally recognized educational institutions, major healthcare providers, specialized precision manufacturing capabilities, and a burgeoning entrepreneurial ecosystem. But at the same time, we have some challenges too, some areas where we're going to have to put some continued investment in time and attention into, and that's talent attraction and retention, population and labor force growth. This is an area where we've seen some progress. Growth in high-wage professional sectors, and then collaboration across organizations. We still have some fragmentation and some silos that we're actively working to break down. The report identifies 4 strategic areas. I think this is more the strategic plan of the piece. I think of these areas as kind of some of the nuts and bolts of economic development. Our consultant referred to them as the blocking and tackling. And those are build on growth opportunities and strategic industry clusters, ensure the workforce is equipped to meet current and future industry needs, facilitate pathways for entrepreneurs and new business development, and then improve collaboration and alignment to spur economic development momentum. I think that we are doing that now. But again, very high level, the report gives specific recommendations, implementation guidance. Sometimes it assigns some budgetary figures to some of these initiatives, and it gives examples of best practices. So the target industry clusters, which is what we started this project with, the report identified 6 industry clusters where we have existing strengths and opportunities for growth. And those are healthcare, education, and life sciences, advanced manufacturing, specifically transportation equipment and mobility, advanced manufacturing, specifically precision metals, information technology and data services, financial, scientific, technical, and creative services. That's kind of a category that feels like a catch-all bucket, but there is some intentionality around that, but that is definitely the hardest one for us to define. And then finally, food, agriculture, and natural resource products. So collectively, I think it's interesting that these industries make up about half of the employment in Delaware County currently. So I want to emphasize these were not chosen because they are on trend or some other community had success in these areas. These are defined because we have existing strengths here and there are opportunities. They were chosen because these assets exist here. We challenged Techonomy to provide a report to us that is rooted in reality. It is something that we can accomplish, but we also wanted to be bold and ambitious. So we challenged them to put some big ideas in there. And so these concepts that are in the full report, and I don't think these are referenced in your executive summary, but you'll see detail in the full report. These concepts include opportunities related to aerospace, unmanned aerial defense systems, building out an ecosystem around defense-related opportunities, expanded life science research partnerships. This aligns with our healthcare sector. a metals innovation center, which I think is really interesting, and then a greater emphasis on cybersecurity, AI, and advanced computing. These are not really immediate projects. These are longer term plays that can help us as our current industries grow and evolve. But there's some exciting things in there. So what happens next? This is not something that's going to sit on the shelf. I'm in the process of introducing this plan to various stakeholder groups. I have a number of meetings set up, including this presentation here this morning, meeting with higher ed, foundations. We have a whole list of groups that the steering committee helped to define that we're meeting with. Plans already started to roll out to the Cradle to Career Network. But we're not wasting time having meetings. We're already actively working on this plan. There are areas that align with initiatives that are already underway. And so our organization is already moving forward. I mentioned in the commissioners meeting last month that we're developing marketing materials centered around these target industries. I've got a meeting set up to start that process next week. And so, I also want to mention that it's always been my intention for this plan to serve as a framework for the next vision plan. And vision is the name of the 5-year economic development plan that our organization administers. It is essentially our plan of work for the next 5 years. So that is going to be rooted in this document, and it will be our component of implementation. We are one piece of the implementation. This is a wide-reaching plan. It's going to require collaboration among local governments, local educational institutions, community partners, maybe even utilities. But this is our roadmap. And then just a final point that this is not something that's going to be quickly implemented. It's not a checklist of things that we're going to do in the next year or so. This is a long-term play for us. And so again, I just really want to thank the commission. You were among some of the first dollars in. I was able to leverage that support to get other supporters to come in. So I think we had 6 or 7 different funders come in to collaborate to help support this. So just wanted to give you an update today, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think it's important to share the presentation with the Board of Commissioners here. I also believe it's important to share the report and meet with the Delaware County EMA group. They conducted a migration and commerce study.
Yes.
You would want to meet with the new director, Corey Kissick,
Yes.
and see if there are synergies here where one report or the other could feed the other, to the migration and commerce study to feed economic development, or vice versa.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I will do that. Thank you.
Tracy.
Thank you. Next, 32-acre DCRC inquiries.
Yes, so the Redevelopment Commission owns about 32 acres off of South Cowan. It is made up of 2 parcels. The first parcel is north of the post office and is about 16.83 acres. The other parcel is just behind the post office and about 11.48 acres. In total, or together, they create that L shape if you look on the map. We've had 2 inquiries that I wanted to share with you all today. The first came from Mr. Doug Bishop, who's interested in, I believe, that 16.83 acres just north of the post office for hunting. We also received another letter of interest from Roger Dilley, who is interested in the 16.83 acres for a self-storage facility. Like the 9175 South Innovation Drive property, it seems like we are starting to get more interest in this site. I will say that the Economic Development Alliance does continue to propose the 32 acres as a whole for projects.
I would agree. Keep it together. And I mean, I was opposed to the apartment complex going out in the industrial park. I still don't think that's a good spot for an apartment complex. I definitely don't think it's a good spot for an area for hunting. And then the other one is a storage facility, I think, proposed storage facility. I just think we should hang on to that for potential business. That's my opinion. Employees.
I'd also say these letters of interest, while encouraging, don't make any sort of an official financial offer. They're not,
No.
trying to make any offer. And I'll let this Board of Commissioners know that I had a meeting yesterday with another organization that has some property rights on 64 acres that adjoins that property, and they're interested in this 32.5 also. So it's not like we don't have a significant level of interest, but I believe that our duty is to consider an actual proposal, not just a letter of interest. So if somebody wants to make a financial proposal, that's something different. And I would say, as a general statement, I do not disagree with what Commissioner Henry said.
To clarify, we do not have a formal appraisal on this property like we do the 9175, correct?
I think we do. It's old.
I think there is too.
Yeah. So when I came in to the commissioner role and onto this body last year, Lockmuller had a project in play out there, and there was a potential opportunity that required a second drive that was to the north next to the railroad tracks, and that is a low area. That there were some water challenges there, and Lockmuller was working on a stormwater management project to add a second drive. And I believe during that process, there was.
I think there was too.
I believe there was. We'd have to
I think it's
just dig
pretty
that stuff
dated,
back
though.
up.
I don't remember what it said, but I do think it's pretty dated.
It is. It's old.
That was when there was a project that was looking at it. That project changed, which is why we're looking at the second entrance. But
Yep.
to your point, it was actual job creation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Real stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm reading this memo that Brooks Struble provided us. I mean, it appears as if we would need a sealed bid for these regardless if we advertise them for sale. Is that?
Yeah, so that was just to give you, that memo was to give you all the options for disposal of real estate. And I did that not only for this, but also going back to the Delville land, because I don't know that we really knew how you guys wanted to proceed with the Delville land. You have the option of selling it yourself. You have the option of transferring it to a nonprofit. You can look at abutting landowners. So I just wanted to make sure you knew what your options were. And I don't know if you're ready to give direction on the Delville land yet, or not, on how Gina should proceed to, handle that one. But that was just to give you all the options that the statute allows. And if you have questions, you can let me know. But yes, that is an option, Ron.
And keep in mind, I mean, it's not a bad idea for us to have a piece of property sitting somewhere. I mean, if we was financially in trouble, then I would say, yeah, let's sell it. But it doesn't hurt to have something somewhere in the event we get a company come in. We have a place for them to go. It's that's why that land exists, and the same one in Daleville.
And this land, if I'm not mistaken, it has a rail line going through it. Is that correct?
It's,
Next
next
up
to
to
The bus up to the rail line, so adding a rail spur
Yeah,
could be,
yeah.
not saying let's build a rail spur today, but
Yeah.
give this project flexibility.
Absolutely.
I agree with
Yep.
everything you said.
Would it be beneficial for this board to, I mean, we have had increased interest, in my opinion, in both of these parcels. And we've discussed the Daleville parcel multiple times during these meetings. This is now, I think, the second time we've discussed this Cowan Road parcel. Would it be beneficial for this commission to put something together that states the type of project that we are looking for? Because I've echoed what Commissioner Henry said. I think other members of this commission have said it. Like, we're looking for job creation, number one. None of the offers that we've had, except for one, I think, even remotely resemble job creation. So would that be something that would be beneficial to you, Gina, when you're getting these letters of interest? Is that something we want to consider moving forward? I agree that having these parcels is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think continuing to entertain random letters of interest without any parameters surrounding them is not only kind of a waste of our time and Gina's, but it's a waste of the time of the people expressing the interest, especially when they're not putting a financial dollar with it.
I think we could put together position of interest document that says this is what, these are the highlights of the property and these are what, in our opinion, are the best use. But I would hate to preclude somebody from proposing something else just because it wasn't necessarily included. So maybe it could have some language that said, including but not limited to.
Yeah,
the
I agree
following.
with that. I don't want to just cut off,
Correct me if I'm wrong, these parcels are currently responded to for when we get economic interest and development interest. We use these parcels, either ECI or Tracy's or Bill's or Tracy's, or I'm not going to do acronyms. Both entities are using these parcels in response to large investment that probably fits parameters. We just aren't always seeing it. Like Bill knows we own it. Michelle knows we own it. Tracy knows we own it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And I also think, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I think we ought to go ahead and get some updated property values as well.
It's not a bad idea.
what formal action do we need there?
I make a motion to get some official property values pending any other discussion.
Sorry, do you want to do one appraisal?
Like we did the last time.
Yeah,
And then if somebody's interested, they can pay for the second one.
right.
Yeah, I agree.
As somebody else.
Yes. You look like you're about ready to jump out of that chair.
No, you're going, Dion, I think Tracy might agree with me. If you guys are going to go down this path and set up parameters, that's great. I'm all for it as well. But could you go ahead and right now say that you take a vote or put it down that you don't want to sell the property, you're going into investment there so that we can move on with who we have on the books and kind of get those two inquiries you have there. I want to get back to them.
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't want to sell it to them, although I don't believe they're the best use of the property, but we don't have an offer from them to consider. They haven't offered us,
I think are you talking about Daleville?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought we
Yeah.
were.
I apologize. I know what you want to do that one. I'm kind of trying to get it over to the Daleville one too, because we have somebody in holding there and I want to move forward with that one or go in a different direction.
Okay, you made a motion for an appraisal on the Cowan Road property, correct?
A single appraisal.
Second.
Okay. Can we get that one out of the way first, please?
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. And then, personally, I'm not interested in either of the offers as they currently stand for the Daleville property because neither of them are for the full.
So Daleville's under table business. Should we remove it from the table to discuss? You want to skip ahead? It's president's prerogative.
Sure.
Okay. I make a motion to remove tabled business B, 9175 South Innovation Drive property from the table.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Well, and it has my name next to it because I was going to give the speech I just gave about the memo. So that was my part, but I think there is an update as far as Alejandro's offer goes. So I would say it
Michelle.
probably should be turned over to them.
I spoke to Alejandro yesterday. He gave me a call and he has expressed that he is fully interested in the whole 8.33 acres now instead of doing the split parcel. He would like to purchase the whole 8.33 if you guys are interested.
Did he make an offer?
He did not. He's the company that did the second appraisal. I think we were just waiting to kind of see the route you guys were wanting to follow.
So the only offer we really have on that area is from the adjoining landowner, Jim Reed, correct? We have an offer.
They made an offer of $500,000 to
Correct.
purchase that. But again, with you guys holding the property in the body, as she stated, you guys did an appraisal. So that property has to be, nothing can be accepted less than that appraisal.
The
From your-
average of the two.
Sorry?
Be a blend
The
of the
average
two.
of the two.
The average of the two, excuse me, yes. So that would be it. And I think Alejandro is willing at that average to purchase the full 8.33 acres is what she was trying to confirm or what he was trying to convey to us.
I recommend we put an offer on paper and
Okay.
get us an offer, a financial offer that we can consider.
And again, just for that, so this body knows, representing Switching Hats, town of Delville, I would be coming to you because Delville, that frontage road only goes to MH. We've got about 200 feet, 250 feet of road that would have to be put in. This is not going to have to be, it's not going to be just 53 and some 4 inches of asphalt. We're going to have to build this up to spec for semi-traffic to go in there if we're going to use this road to go past there. From 1-9 entrance to there, I believe we're good. But we would have to make sure there, because they're gonna be turning like we're doing with QT, and we're gonna need to pour concrete there for trucks turning on that tight angle, or the rear wheels are just gonna tear up every asphalt that goes in there.
You don't believe we'd have to reconfigure the ingress egress off of 67? Because right now the egress goes through the parking lot, or it looks like it goes through the parking lot,
It
although
looks
it's
like it.
technically the
That
road.
was one of the
We need
poorest
to
road
reconfigure.
designs when that business was put in there. That was done a long time ago, but that is actually a road. The entrance to 9-1 is after you turn in there. I know you see that one sign out by the road close to it. That is actually frontage road. The entrance to 1-9 is after you make that curve and turn into their parking lot.
Yeah, so that could potentially be reconfigured out there too. Be more effective.
It could be.
It's a safety issue.
And depending on what business goes in there and what truck's coming in as
Yeah.
53, I mean, you do have MH, they take in semis there, and then the other traffic with 1-9. So it would be coming back out of there that's going to be the issue. Going in, I don't think will be an issue getting back to it. It's the coming out.
Yep.
Facing the traffic and other trucks coming into the parking lot or 9-1 while they're trying to exit.
Bill, you've probably been marketing those properties since longer than I've known you.
Been over 10 years. I mean, I think I took the board in 2012. That property was over there. I can remember when you guys were talking about appraisal on that. I think the last one I can remember is like 2015. So we owned it prior to that.
So we're at a point where we're seeing what we need to be seeing for the town.
It was always set aside by previous boards that were in place to you that was ground that was going to be held for some significant interest. Delville is the gateway to Delaware County. It is the first exit seen when you leave Madison County coming in. It was always the intent, I think, of the board members to have a big company there with a name that people seen coming into Delaware County right on the side of the building. I mean, it's a nice advertising spot, and it's a nice entrance coming into Delaware County.
So we just need a proposal, or what do we?
We need
your
a
mic's not
formal
on.
offer, like,
Your mic's not.
Alejandro needs to make an offer, and we need to provide feedback to Brian Allert that their offer has not been accepted. Did we officially not accept that? I think we need to do that.
I don't believe so.
Do we need to take sealed bids? I mean, I'm just reading your memo. And it's,
On the property,
yeah.
I don't think you have to. It depends on how you want to market it. You mean for the one that Alejandro is going to send?
For the 8.33
If
acres
we're
out.
saying we're gonna sell the whole thing at once.
Right.
I don't want to muddy the waters, but I believe you are to that. First decision is, do you want to sell the property? If you do, by this board's deal, then it would be a sealed bid with the starting bid starting at your average price of the two, and it would be sent in. If anyone is inquired or wants to be in it, you would open it up to everybody and then see what comes in a sealed bid.
So the adjacent property owner, he only wants half of it. Is that what I heard earlier?
That's what I thought I heard.
Yes.
He did in the beginning, and then I believe the 500,000 was for the complete 8.33 acres.
That's correct.
They changed
Okay, he changed
direction
it all for
after
all
the second
So
request.
I think it has to be sealed bid.
Yeah, or public auction.
Yeah.
And the sealed bid does not obligate us to sell it. It just tells us where we're correct.
You do not have to accept. a
Correct.
sealed bid.
And we also could work, if the town had some options, it could be used as an incentive through the town, through another.
So would we advertise then that we're taking bids on this?
Yeah. So
And then would we send a letter to both interested parties?
yeah.
Okay.
So one of the things though, if you're going to take that next step to formally publish that you're going to have sealed bids and get your everything together on what you're looking for, you are supposed to sell to the highest and best bidder. So if in order to not accept the bids, there's going to have to be a basis to not accept. So it's going to have to not comply with what the use of that property is intended for what you guys are looking for, if that makes sense.
Yep. So we have our own appraisal. We have a second appraisal from Alejandro. We take the average of those. We're going to put together a public bid process, and that's the starting price.
Correct.
The average of the two.
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back up to 10.
Number 10 on the agenda, resolution number 2026-013, America's Hometown Band.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Did you have anything to say?
I guess you don't want to hear me talk about it. Fine.
Now we can have discussion.
Who seconded that?
Rob?
Okay, this is to ratify the decision to give America's Hometown Band $5,000 for the Albany concert. This is coming out of your Bell Perch, Magna allocation, those two areas.
And I did connect America's Hometown Band with Destination Muncie, as I committed at the last meeting.
So I wasn't here for that. You said this is Albany concert. Is this Albany or all the other towns as well?
Just the Albany concert.
Albany.
So the request was for additional money in areas, but the only one approved was for Albany and just the amount for that concert.
And that's $5,000.
They asked for Albany and Yorktown, given the condition of the Yorktown interlocal,
So they're going to Yorktown too, is my point.
just Albany.
We're only
They're
supporting
doing the
the Albany.
Yorktown
They're doing
concert.
Yorktown,
We're
but
just
not with
not
our
paying
support.
for it.
Okay. So they're, let me get this right. They're doing one concert for $5,000.
From this body, yes.
That's our understanding.
Okay.
Do you know how much other concerts are costing out there?
I don't, but
I saw an advertisement that said there's going to be is there a concert this,
yeah,
this
there's
Saturday's Freedom Fest, right?
Right, yeah. I don't know what that cost, but Bill, do you have any idea what those bands are costing? Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Roll call, please. Thank you.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
No.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Resolution number 2026-014, Innovation Connector 2026 operational costs. To be clear, this is separate from what we approved earlier in this meeting. This is from the approval of $25,000 from the June meeting.
Do your motion first.
Motion to approve.
So this one is the original 25,000, and this is coming out of Morrison Road and the Magna allocation areas.
I'll second it. If that's what you're waiting on.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling,
No.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Okay, and resolution number 2026-015, Delaware County Highway Department road paving.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Danielle?
This is for $620,939.42 that was approved at the last meeting. This will be coming from Morrison Road, Magna, PRL, Midwest Metal, and Fountain Squares, spread amongst those.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Resolution number 2026-016, EDA redevelopment services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
This is to finish out the rest of this year, coming from Magna, Morrison Road, Midwest Metal, and PRL. And it is in the amount of $28,371 that was approved at your last meeting.
I have a question. This is for the redevelopment services.
Right.
I know we approved it at the last meeting. Is there a way to make this monthly instead of one lump sum, just like we will be paying the economic development services?
I was following the history of what was approved last year for the redevelopment services contract. It was paid in one lump sum.
I would prefer to see it monthly, so both of those contracts mimic each other. We've gotten them on the same timeline. We're paying for both of them. Granted, one of them is managed by us, one of them is not. I'm just curious if that's something that can be amended.
From my perspective, I can amend the resolution with no problem, but I think that question is more geared toward them, I'm assuming.
There is a certain amount of catch-up in this to get current, but this also gets to the end of the year. So you're basically saying, hey, bill in August for August, September for September, October, so on and so forth.
Yes.
But there would
Get
be-
caught up.
There would be a lump sum of the
There
catch-up
would have to be a lump
upfront.
sum because
Yes.
part of this is
Yeah, and I
catch-up.
understand that.
We can do that.
We Need a new resolution for that next month? then?
I'll
It-
amend my motion
Yeah.
to approve Resolution 2026-16 with the proper catch-up to get them paid through July.
And I will email the updated with that amendment to you guys, and then you can just sign off on it. You won't have to do another one next month.
It'll just be in our claims each month.
I'll second the amended motion.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Okay. Number 14 on the agenda, memorandum of understanding with the Isaiah 117 house.
This came at the request, I think, in our planning meeting. So we have required Isaiah House to come and give a lot of reports on updates. And it was requested that I prepare this memorandum in order to not make them keep doing that. They're welcome to give updates as far as the opening and all of that, but as it concerns the economic development agreement that we did with them, and then I think we had 3 different addendums to that agreement, this would consider them complete of their obligations to this board. They have really done all of the things that we required. They're just buttoning up some last minute things. The issues they've had with some of the utilities are not really pertinent to the funds that they received from this board. So we are releasing them from their reporting requirements and any obligations they would have to you guys.
Photo update. Let me tell you, this has been the best week since I started this job 8 months ago. We have had so many amazing progress. So, thank you. I can't wait for you guys to come see it. I'd like for us to give any updates at all.
Will the parking lot remain gravel?
It is going to be asphalt, but we may open with it being gravel.
When do you open?
We do not have a definite opening date right now. We are under contract for asphalt for the driveway to be completed, so it will not remain gravel. We do just want to open this house. And so we're doing everything that we can to get our CO as quickly as possible to be able to open, but we don't have a hard opening date at this point.
That was my last question. What's holding up your certificate of occupancy?
So there has been some challenges in the fire suppression system, hooking that up to the alarm, some finishing of the spaces with insulation, and just kind of some back and forth between contractor, fire suppression, alarm system. As you know, it took a very long time to bore underneath to be able to get water, and then that was what allowed us to take that next step with the fire suppression system. And so now we're in our last stages of the fire suppression system. And then we were under contract for concrete and asphalt beginning April 27th, and the contractor continued to delay getting there. And so we, at the beginning of this month, at the end of June and the beginning of this month, we went in a different direction to get that done. And so the concrete piece of that is completed as of yesterday. So now we have to order the ADA railing, and that does have to be special order because it has to be one continuous piece.
and we had to have the concrete poured to be able to do that. So Mary is going to take the next step to making sure that that is approved. We have had the building inspector, Tom, come out last week, and she's in constant contact with him to make sure that everything that we are doing, there's not going to be any surprises when he comes to do his final walkthrough. So the last pieces are just the finishing of the ADA requirements of the railing, the fire suppression system, and there was one more piece. Or was that it?
Paving.
Yeah, the alarm for the fire suppression. So yeah, those are the last pieces that we're waiting to come together.
So you have a clear path forward on resolving the concerns for fire suppression
Yes, we
and
do.
monitoring and, okay.
Yes, we do.
Don't need any help there.
What's that?
You don't need any help there.
Where were you? I will let you know, but I do not believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you able to help with that if something comes up though?
Well, it depends on what your question of help is. I'm asking, do you need us to contact somebody? Do you need somebody to look it over, think critically, try to help make connections with the fire marshal and different people?
I think we're on track with
Okay.
that. I think we have the right people in conversations now.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a date for that final walkthrough scheduled yet?
No, so I have John Foster coming next week to do the alarm for the fire suppression system. And then we've been in contact with the chief fire marshal and hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So Tom came out last week and he said once all that's done to call him and we'll get it on the calendar.
Okay.
So we're hoping by the end of the month.
And that railing, the ADA railing should be a couple weeks.
They said it would take 2 to 3 weeks because it has to be one continuous piece. So we have a local company that's coming out tomorrow to measure and hopefully design and build that for us. So
Thank you.
I will say the community has been amazing. So, and you guys have been great. So thank you for the support and we're getting closer every day.
And your patience.
Yes, so thank you.
With this resolution, Mary, who's been here almost better attendance than us, doesn't have to come every month. Is that the?
Right, and I do have a place for you guys to sign off on this memorandum of understanding as well, so before you leave.
Motion to approve the MOU?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll miss you.
Please let us know when you gonna have a ribbon cutting?
Yes.
Yeah, let us know. Thank you.
Moving on to tabled business 15A. I have a motion to take the Yorktown interlocal agreement and invoice off the table.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Erin Hurley. Chase is not available, so I'm representing the town of Yorktown today. And we would really like some money from you guys. We have invoiced you for the 2025 and 2026 NEBO TIF payments. If you could pay us the 2025 now, Chase can work with you on the 2026 if that's amenable to you.
So the research we've done since the last meeting, the big question was, where's this money coming from? The interlocal agreement mentions a consolidated economic development area, Nebo Road economic development area, but we couldn't find where the payments were coming from. They've been coming from Morrison, to be clear. And the Morrison TIF district brings in about $857,000 a year. So the estimated tax increment revenue for 2026, $857,057. So that's why I brought up last month that the $600,000, we couldn't pay it out of the Morrison because we're already obligated to do other things. We do have the space in the Morrison Road 4403 to meet Ms. Hurley's request of $300,000.
Were you proposing we or figure out the 2026 over time? Because there's how many years on this thing? It's like a 10-year agreement.
It is 10. So it was a July of 2020 agreement on July 6th, actually. And it's a 10-year agreement, so it wouldn't end until well, yeah, 2030. Because there was original $1.3 million payment, and then each year after is 300,000 for a total of 4 million. So 9 payments of 300,000, 2.7 million plus the original 1.3 million. 2030.
So yes, if we could get the 2025 payment now, and then Chase will be back for the 2026 at it, and we can work something out.
You have something?
I will move that we pay the 300,000 for 2025 out of the recommended TIF.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
And this will come back to you guys just as a claim. I won't do a separate resolution because we actually already have an agreement in place that we have to pay these, so just so you aren't looking for a resolution for that next month.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I also have some information about Park One. Can we talk about that now while I'm up here? Okay. The water leak under McGalliard out at Park One, we've located the issue. We paid 3D to get under McGalliard. We spent 2 weeks of our staff time, our entire water department, plus all of our equipment, couldn't find it. It's under 332. That line serves one customer, North Edge Steel. The town council has authorized us to spend up to $45,000 on a fix. We asked American Structure Point to give us an engineering estimate. Our cost for that is $43,200. That's just for the engineering. We don't have the money to fix the problem. So we're going to ask you to repair it. We're asking for a change order on your entrance to Park One project and have them repair it. It serves one customer, so from a utility side for us, it's going to take us 4 years of revenue from that one customer to pay just the engineering cost. But the town feels that it's prudent to have water on the far side, on the north side of 332 for future development. That's not within Yorktown. It's in Delaware County, but our water utility would service that area.
You know what size of line it is?
I think it's a 12-inch.
What customer does that service?
North Edge Steel, and they are in your TIF district, the Park One TIF. The incremental assessed value for that is a little north of $3 million on the April 2026 report. And they are not having any problems with water service. We're losing water, getting it to them. They don't have a problem with water pressure. So we're able to service them. It's just a matter of if anything else develops out there, there's going to be problems.
Aaron, I want to understand, make sure I understand correctly. You are losing water between somewhere under 332.
Correct.
Yep. It was, at some point, it seems like that's going to be a problem for 332. Is that, what is Structure Point said regarding that?
There is speculation that it could. There is a metal sleeve basically that encompasses that water line. So the water line inside is leaking. The metal sleeve is holding it for now, so it's coming out both ends.
So you can repair this without shutting down 332 like NDOT did to the county a couple of years ago?
That's what American Structure Point is going to do. They're going to get the permits and they're going to do the engineering and figure out how to get it done. Basically, that metal encasing is not up to current code, so we can't just pull that leaky line and run a new line in that same casing. We're going to have to re-engineer it. We're going to have to move it. We're going to have to put in a new metal casing and a new line.
And we don't have an estimate on that total cost of repair yet, correct?
We do not.
Basically, American Structure Point's saying, hey, 43,200 will do the design and engineering. And then the recommendation from the town is to make a change order to 3D's contract to go ahead and fix this while they're mobilized.
Makes sense.
But although it doesn't have anything to do with the second entrance,
That's gonna be expensive.
it very well could be.
No, that's gonna be.
And so I asked, Dean's going to come up and give us an update, but I asked Jamie Stetzel, who's on vacation. So in fairness to him, he hadn't been able to get back to me yet. What kind of an emergency is this? So I think to Mr. Kiesling's question, and the engineer here may correct my statement. I don't believe that this is an emergency. That's my personal opinion because of the sleeve and the inner pipe. So the leak is being protected, or under 32 is being protected from the sleeve that goes through, and it's actually leaking out both ends. That's what allowed 3D Construction to put in the French drain. So we authorized them in our last meeting to take savings that they had found from the project to go ahead and fix a portion of this. We haven't seen that number quantified yet, so we're already spending money on this leak just so we can finish our Park 1 332 project. But Mr. Thomas, who is at the mic now, may have some additional concerns.
So I went out and talked with the superintendent yesterday, just about the whole project, how everything was going. They're working on finishing up the stormwater. He is concerned, not necessarily for the road itself, but the far east ditch. There's some storm drainage that'll be done there, along with some riprap and other things that need to be added. He said that work likely won't be able to be completed if that leak is continuing, because it's impossible to work with dirt or anything that's just a muddy mess and flooded. So most of the project could be completed, but that portion would probably have to hold off until something is figured out with this leak, in my opinion. So
it would continue to impact our project.
Yes, I mean, not the main part of it, but the outskirts of it, yes, it would. I mean, like I said, it wouldn't be detrimental, but it would be an impact, yes.
And then I was at the Yorktown Town Council meeting where they approved up to $45,000 to contribute towards this. And then there was discussion about applying for NDOT permits. And do we know, did anybody start the process to apply for permits? Because that's going to take a while.
So the last I had heard with that was Jamie was putting together that quote. He said he knew a few people with the NDOT permitting office that hopefully he could push this through a little quicker. But as far as I know, nothing has been started with the actual permits because there's several fees that are involved with that.
Yep.
And he didn't want to start anything until, once again, someone says, yes, we want to do it. He was willing to start it before, basically with the promise of payment.
What's your recommendation, Dean?
And let me, one more piece of information. As far as the cost of this, I've heard several numbers, and I don't know, I haven't verified any of them myself, but just for the jack and bore pipe, you're looking at roughly $800 a foot for 100 feet, which comes out to
80 grand.
Yeah. And then plus there's the water line on top of that. So like I say, this could get pretty costly pretty quick. But at the same time, like I say, I don't think that if you want to completely finish this project, I don't think we can go without fixing this line.
It needs to be engineered. I think that's a given. I think that should be done. Have you guys started that process yet at all? I think the engineering needs done no matter what. I would be interested if we could block that line on our side, let it all drain the other side so we could get our project done. Just a thought. I don't know if you could water plug it or whatever, but
That would shut off water service to North Edge Steel.
no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, so the water that's coming out of the water line is running through the jacket, correct? So block the jacket, let the water run, let it go out the other side. And I don't know if it can, but Dean, you might look at that and just see if we could finish the project while we're waiting on engineering for that, is my thought.
I can explore those options and see if there's something to do. My head tells me that it wouldn't be a sure fix. It would maybe be able to help if we.
If we could just slow the water down so they could get the project, our side of the project done,
Right.
and then,
yeah, continue on.
yeah.
The other piece to consider too is timing with these jack and board companies. There's only a few of them in
Yeah.
this side of the United States, and I don't know what their availability would be. So.
Yep, understood.
So go ahead.
And this doesn't qualify for any grants like Mr. Walter's organization does, like near West Dell. It's kind of just is what it is.
His face is telling me.
His face tells me no, but Bill, you can't blame me for asking. Thank you.
So, Ms. Hurley, your request is that this body pay for the American Structure Point design and engineering portion, which is $43,200, or the town's going to use their $45,000 that was approved to pay for that, and then you're going to come back and ask for support to finance the repair.
Correct. Number 2, we will pay for American Structure Point. We're asking you to pay for the fix.
Okay.
We don't have a definitive number on that yet, but before we drop 45 grand on something that serves one customer, we would like your assurance that you will pay for the fix.
I would be interested in paying for the fix, but I don't know that I won't run a 12-inch line across the highway for one person, is kind of my thing. I get that the thought was for future.
Okay, I think it may be an 8-inch then.
I want to say that it was 8 or 9.
I understand, but still, even at that, we don't need to run an 8-inch line over there for one customer, is my point. And I don't mind, again, paying for something, but I don't know that I want to run a line across the road for one person. And I know the thought behind it, but it would be cheaper if we ran like a 1-inch line or a 2-inch line over there, is my point.
Well, I have
So-
a question now then. So did the town council only approve 45,000 if we were willing to pay for the fix, or did they approve 45,000 to pay for the engineering work?
They approved 45,000 for Chase to determine how he wanted to use it. And Chase determined he wanted to use it for the engineering.
But only if we pay for the fix.
Correct. Because there's no sense in us paying for engineering if there's no fix coming. Because our one water customer is still getting service.
So if this is not fixed, it impacts our project. I think Commissioner Henry's point of, can we somehow ebb the flow of water on our side? Who knows what that does on the other side, but I think it's a point well taken. Until it's engineered, we don't know what we're frankly looking at. I somewhat lean towards, the town has the obligation to provide service as a utility, and I guess I lean towards, that ultimately, if we're paying for this, it's kind of like we asked 911 to start repaying us for that big outlay. I would want to see the town over time making some payments back if we're to finance this thing up front.
I'm gonna express the same thing I expressed, I think, last month or the month before when Chase was here. In my opinion, this commission's priority is this project and getting this project completed. So I would like to see Commissioner Henry's options. Dean, you said that you would explore those. In my opinion, that is priority 1. Your customer is, please don't take this offensively, your customer, and that customer is still getting service. Our priority is the project that we have had on the table for years now. So I want to see whatever temporary fixes can be done to get the project completed, and then we can discuss this later, but I am not willing to commit to fixing something with no estimate, no engineering done, and not until our project is completed.
So it was also stated in the last meeting that, hey, these are county TIFs, and, there's a myth out there that the TIFs are flush with cash, but I'm telling you the TIFs in that industrial park are not flush with cash. They are obligated by debt service, even though if you look at our statement of cash position, you'll see some ending balances. But if you look at the TIF debt service report from Baker Tilly, these ending balances are almost completely consumed with debt obligation. So there's money there, but there's not. And the reason I say this, and Commissioner Henry heard the same number I did originally. I think we heard an $800,000 number, but I think somebody did their math wrong, and it's an $80,000 number. So that changes my opinion a little bit, but I agree. We need to protect our project. We need to get our project done.
Is some of this the convenience of, I mean, Dean, you're saying, hey, there's only so many vendors that can do this work. And then the town saying, hey, you guys are mobilized. Are we looking at two separate projects regardless, or?
So the the main person that I was concerned about getting a hold of is a company to actually put the jack and bore pipe under. There are only a few of those. 3D could do the water line work. That was not a concern with the second part of the work. The first part, getting the casing underneath, is the issue, in my opinion, time wise.
So timing wise, I mean, we're trying to think through how to save taxpayer dollars. Given that this has to be engineered, given our project's already underway, this does impact our project, and Commissioner Henry's proposed some solutions to mitigate it. There also has to be a vendor, plus presumably something like this needs to be bid out and sealed. I mean, for this dollar amount for the town, I would hope. Is our project going to be completed before they would even be ready to do this jack and pipe stuff based on our current schedule?
I would be concerned that they would not be ready by the ending of our project. Now, once again, maybe because if this would fall under a change order, I don't know all the specific rules on bidding that out, or if we're just allowed to, up to a certain percentage, change order things in. But yeah, I would definitely be concerned with the timing, which I could start making some phone calls to find out availability.
Yeah, in like the ideal world, like, oh, we approve something, they do it, but unfortunately it doesn't quite flow, no pun intended, that way. So without an engineer, we're kind of stuck at this point. And so Aaron's stuck in the catch-22. I agree our project needs completed. I also see this project as this water thing is long-term beneficial to the county. So those, but which pleasure, Mr. President.
I feel like I already voiced that. I want to explore the options that Commissioner Henry mentioned about draining it to the other side so we can complete our project.
What if, I'm just asking a question, since we're not sure what Chase wants to do, why don't we pay for engineering? If it's 40, how much?
43,200.
43,000? Why don't we pay for engineering? And then my point is, I'm not convinced we need a 6 or an 8-inch water line run across the street. I mean, I think if we want to, I think we can get that priced out. Both, I'm not sure if, I don't believe, they may cut a little steel over there in, at that company, but I don't know how much water they actually need. Do you know their usage per day?
It's not a lot.
Is it just restroom facilities? For the most part?
I would say for the most part, yes. They've got a 2-inch meter and they're paying the minimum water bill. So they're not using very much water. It's more a matter of when it was run under 332, a T was put in, one side to feed North Edge and the other to go for future development.
So they've got a 2-inch meter. They've got a 2-inch line running to their building.
Right.
So we don't need anything any bigger than a 2-inch. Is my point.
You get a larger project in the future, then that customer is paying for the upgrades.
Sure.
But I'll second your motion if that's.
Well, but my point is, why don't we pay for engineering and then we can kind of.
Can you explain your reasoning behind that when Yorktown has already agreed to pay for it?
Well, because they're saying now that if we don't pay for the project, then they don't want to pay for the engineering. That's what I heard.
I heard the town allocated $45,000 for Chase to determine how to apply towards this project. The engineering estimate is $43,000. You're saying, hey, we'll pay for the engineering. Chase needs to figure out has $45,000 to go towards the fix.
Yeah, because they're saying they're not going to pay for engineering if we're not going to pay to run that water line.
Right. I mean, our general discussion up here, what I'm hearing is we're not willing to just open-ended pay for the fix. If we're not going to pay for the fix, they're not going to pay for the engineering. If they don't pay for the engineering and it doesn't get repaired, our county engineer's saying our project's in jeopardy. Our job's to protect this project.
Right.
Did I summarize that properly?
You did.
That's exactly what's happening.
I believe we have a motion and a second, correct?
That's my motion, yeah.
Was there a second?
I'll second it.
I thought there already was. I'm sorry.
No,
That's fine.
you're all right. You're all right.
He had it.
And I'll work with you guys to figure out which TIFs out there to take this $43,200 out of. I believe it might come from Park Save a Lot, but I need to look at the debt load.
Aaron, do you have a quote for that 43,200 and the information?
I do, yes.
Can you get me a copy of that so I know who to do the resolution to pay this?
Yes, I sure can.
And make sure Yorktown keeps their 45,000 in hand, because we're gonna need it.
It's gonna be expensive.
Yeah, that's what I would like to add. I know we've been here for a while. It's almost been 2 hours, but I'm like up to here with the what ifs with Yorktown, and that's not directed at you, Aaron, but like if you're gonna agree to pay for the engineering, just do the engineering and then talk to us about the project later instead of forcing a 30-minute conversation about it. Sorry.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yep.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Dean.
Moving on to invoices.
There were some invoices on our docket here that we didn't have, or there's some payment claims on this that we didn't have substantiation for. One of them is actually the biggest one, which we just got done talking about, the second entrance for Park One, $681,886.29. Do we have an invoice for that? I did not see it in the packet.
Not seen as well.
That might have been the one that Dean had sent me just before the meeting, so I'll make sure that that gets in there. But that should be paid out of ARPA.
Okay.
The first item is invoice payable to 3D Company on our agenda in the amount of $268,124.24. I have that invoice as payable to American Structure Point.
I did confirm with Dean Thomas that that was to be paid directly to 3D Company.
Okay. I mean, it does have the prime contractor listed, but it is on American Structure Point's letterhead. And then, let's see, the second page, the Creed payment, there's not necessarily a invoice for that, but this fully repays the Fountain Square Creed, where Creed loaned money because of the issues in the auditor's office where payments weren't allocated properly. Okay. And then the, I think that's it.
GMEDC, the amount of $28,371, I believe that's one we're modifying the resolution, so that would appear next month in a different amount.
So if you were to remove that, the new total would be $1,330,672.31.
And I'm not saying we're not paying GMEDC, it's just how it was structured.
And next month it would be, there'd be a billing for June, July, and August.
Okay. I have a motion to approve as amended.
Make a motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. And bond and bot payments.
A couple of, actually I have a question and then some observations. So the very first one, First Harrison Bank, Daleville, it's listed as $100,427.72. When I look at the invoice, the principal of $63,323 even, and interest of $37,195.72 comes up to $100,518.72, a $91 difference. But I couldn't find $91, like if it was a service fee that was added or something like that. So please double check my math on that invoice. that I added it properly?
You did.
Okay. So we'll have to increase the bond payments by $91. That's my first observation. Also, there was no invoice for Nebo Land Partners, $103,375. No invoice for Park One Capital, $392,719.30. No invoice for the third one from the end, the Mersix, New Tucson, $173,200. The Star Financial Daleville, $156,329.54, 329.54, and the PRL, $120,086.11. And while I believe them, we did just find a $91 difference on the first one. So I just want to make sure that the invoices match the numbers that are on the sheet here that we don't have an invoice for.
So it is not uncommon with the bonds that we don't receive some of the invoices until just before the payment date because of the interest. We've had that in the past.
Right.
For the ones that do not have the invoices, I base it off of the amortization schedules that Baker Tilly has provided, or in the case of the Mersix bond and the Nebo Land Road Partners, we usually pay in total what is collected at settlement. If we need to go back next month and amend it once we have the actual invoices, we can do that. But I wanted you all to be aware and try to get ahead of these payments.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So the only thing we need to amend is to add $91 right now, and then we may have to come back in the future and amend for actual interest up to the payment date.
Correct.
Okay,
And
so the new amount's $2,613,922.86.
Correct.
Okay. Those are all my comments, questions.
Motion to approve as amended.
I'll
So-
make a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Do we have the public comment sign in sheet? Can someone grab that, please?
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean.
Getting your steps in. Part of our wellness program.
Okay. Looks like the only person that is still here off of this list is Mr. Yancer.
Rick Yancer, newsman, author. Well, what I've listened here today is classic still not being able to get along. A couple things that I've said before here about taxes and different governments. This county government controls tax districts that should be put in the hands of local governments like towns. Now, I remember it wasn't that long ago that you cut a deal with Daleville, give them a piece of their tip. I think the time's come that you consider that for Yorktown because they're paying a tremendous utility cost out there at Park One, and regardless of how much money's coming in, that's grown more than anything I know in the last couple of years. Muncie Power Products is bringing a manufacturing plant there. It's going to have about 80 people in it. That cement company out of Tennessee finally made use of a rail spur that had just said vacant for years. And we still have that Chinese data center that continues to draw power and water out there. So I think instead of, nickel and diming here about whatever you're doing, obviously another interest is needed, but I think you should consider splitting up that tip out there to the town. And as far as property taxes, I've been to a 4-hour council meeting this week. I've been to other government meetings. I still hear the noise about how you're losing tax money. Well, you're not going to lose any tax money until next year, maybe even 28. And the problem still is that there's an election. We don't know who's going to be in the legislature next year. Next year's a budget year. And even though there's been a lot of noise about property tax relief for old people like me or veterans or others, there needs to be a solution to get more property tax paying people. I think I said this too, here in Delaware County. You know, we've let this county go somewhere else with institutions that have the biggest employers that don't pay property taxes, and they still want government to serve them, whether it's a new fire station in this town or other towns that need help. And frankly, I'm glad to see today you're cutting back on some of these old deals, like that 10-year deal Yorktown imposed on an apartment building. I'm still not sure whether housing is the answer to bring people or jobs here. But again, it's your job to take care of our money because we are the people and it's our ways and means. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Okay. Any comments from the commission?
The Delaware County IT set up Delaware County emails for certain members of this body, but we're not using them right now. And I'm not complaining, but we have to maintain those emails. And if we're not going to use them, that's fine. I would like to disable them. They also show up on our training report. So we have this Know Before training, which is cybersecurity access. So I just would like some direction. If we want to use them, that's great. We'll leave them in place. And then we'll have to complete the trainings. But if we're not going to use them, that's fantastic too. I just don't want to maintain them anymore. And I don't want their omissions for completing training showing up on our training report.
I use mine before the meetings generally. I wasn't sure if those training emails were spam or not, so I just didn't.
No, they're
open them.
real.
So
They're very real, and I'm very serious about them.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Sometimes those spammers do that stuff through.
Yeah, because what the commissioners have authorized Ryan Stoltz, our IT leader, to do is anybody that doesn't complete those trainings, their credentials will be disabled. Because it's a risk. I mean, we've had credential harvesting that has been successful in the county. People actually gave them their passwords and gave other people's information, and that's what these trainings are for. I'm not saying you would do that, but we have to mitigate risk.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay.
I just mitigated the risk by not opening it.
So leaving yours in place.
Please.
Okay.
I'll take your direction there. I already get DCRC emails to 2 other emails because people get my city email confused with the email that I traditionally use for DCRC business. I am happy to use it if that is how you would like me to proceed. It is not, however, my preference because I'm already pulling from multiple email inboxes for DCRC business.
So it's really more about public records access risk than anything, in my opinion.
I believe it came from RAI was suggesting we should be using these for a public access standpoint.
Right.
Then I will use it.
What was recommended from REI is that if you're not using a professional email, you have one created. And I believe everyone here does use a professional email. So I don't believe that they are necessary unless it's the wish of the commission to do so.
Yeah, I'm agnostic. I just want, if you're going to use it, great. If you're not, then I'm going to disable them so that it doesn't muddle up my report.
I keep using mine.
I will use it and I'll do the know before. I'm familiar with
Mine,
know before.
mine can be disabled because I know mine's protected under a high level of security.
Perfect.
The one I used for my work.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. That's it for me.
Anything else? Okay, meeting is adjourned. Do you want to do a motion to adjourn? Adjourn.
So moved.
Sure.
Thanks. All in favor, say aye.
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 So wait, Kat.